hell of a procrastinator.
Yeah, yeah. So here's the intro talking about you not making an intro again.
But that's the intro. Your soundbite right now.
Yeah, I know.
Hey guys, this is welcome to Campus Odds and Ends on the Holy City High Podcast Network. I am joined by America's favorite known Colorado hater, Buchanan, and my fellow Ford State misery company. You know, we like to keep misery together. Orion, Davies. Y'all we got last name? Oh no, we gotta find some nicknames for you guys.
I gave you my nickname right there.
That is
Jesus.
not Dion approved.
Oh, fuck yeah.
That is not Dion approved. All right, guys, this is our second episode, so this is better than what we did for the entire month of October. Um, but hey, man, we're not reflecting on the past. We're going to focus on the future. Thanks for everybody that see us streaming on YouTube or Twitch. Please give a like or subscribe if you're on those platforms. We're going to review the rankings. Well, not going to review the rankings. We'll review some games from this past weekend, even though this wasn't a, I don't know, there's some big games there, but
it was boring.
it was overall boring, but there was some close calls. We're gonna look back through.
62% of underdogs won this last weekend, though.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, really?
Happen a
Oh,
lot.
man.
Yeah, that was a fun fact.
Hell yeah. Shout out to the dogs, or Trump says they're eating the dogs. But I get started on these guys. This is I made a list of my top 12 teams. Matt and Ryan haven't seen these yet, and I'm gonna give them opportunity to give their thoughts and opinions on it. Here we go as they go at the bottom. For my audio listeners, I'm going to run through them right quick for you. I do have Oregon at 1, Ohio State number 2, Alabama at number 3, followed by Georgia at 4, Texas at 5, Penn State at 6, Indiana at 7. I got to make some scroll. I kind of forgot to write this down. As we keep it scrolling. There we go. Ole Miss at 8. Tennessee at 9, Miami at 10, Notre Dame at 11, and Boise State at 12. Matt, I'm going to give you the first shot at this. What are your thoughts?
Oregon, yep, I get it. Ohio State, okay. Bama, Georgia, Texas. I don't know how I feel about this. Penn State, yeah, they could probably be further. Indiana's getting no respect. Ole Miss, the SEC cannibalizes itself, and I really don't know what they are. You got Alabama beating Georgia. Georgia beats Texas. It just every week, it's like, all right, so who's really good and who?
Kentucky beats Ole Miss.
Kentucky beats Ole Miss. It's just hard to try to figure out exactly what the SEC is. So I struggle with trying to rank these, as I'm sure you did. Indiana, I think's underranked. Alabama, Georgia, it just depends on who shows up for them every week. But yeah, it's a tough rank this year, but I think that's about right. I do think SMU's getting no love from you. I think they should be at least 12.
Oh, really? Above
Possible is
Boise?
to BYU. I'm not taking out Boise. I just don't. Maybe Notre
Oh, yeah, you
Dame
got
or
somebody.
maybe
Yeah.
Tennessee. Tennessee might fall further than what they did.
This is my
Tennessee's
fault.
best win is what? NC State?
No, I believe Florida. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember too.
Nobody can remember who their
Oh,
best win
they beat Alabama.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. Outside of that, who else? NC State's their second best win?
I'll say probably Florida is their second, then
Mhm.
NC State. And
But NC State is garbage.
Yeah, they're probably the third best one.
I mean, Florida
Maybe
wasn't
4.
good. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just hard to figure out each week. So I'll let Ryan talk on that.
What are your thoughts, Ryan?
1 and 2, I agree with. I think Texas still belongs above Alabama and Georgia right now. Penn State, I get why they're 6.
I
Indiana,
don't
I
like
think
it.
is, and I don't like it either, but I get why they're 6. Indiana, I think is too high, and Notre Dame's too low. Notre Dame's way too low.
Who's Notre Dame's best win?
Texas
Best win?
A&M.
Yeah, Texas A&M and A&M.
Who looks not so good now?
Now.
Yeah, it's definitely lost value.
Yeah,
I
but
can,
they've also had the highest point differential since their last loss, which was what, 5 weeks ago now,
yeah.
and they're just completely dominating their opponents right now.
Yeah, I mean, I like their defense. Their defense is good.
Defense is solid, but I guess I'll give you some thoughts on my rankings. Oregon for the obvious reasons. Ohio State was a kind of a thought process with it, but I kind of give it the benefit of the doubt. Well, hell, they do have the win over Penn State in a close loss to Oregon on the road. We see what they do this weekend with Indiana come in town. Bama, Georgia, and Texas. Honestly, it's kind of like just Dill's choice. You think is the hottest between the three. For me, at least the most upside between those three is probably Texas. If Jalen Milroe balls out, Bama could easily probably be the best team out this entire group. Then Georgia has a lot of questions. I know Carson Beck has been playing better, but he still is kind of injury prone and is down to reality. But their Titans finally showed out.
Well, he also leads the league he leads all college football in interceptions in the last 5 weeks.
Yeah, has thrown a lot, but
I think 5 of 6 weeks he's had multiple.
Yeah,
picks. Yeah, including like a one-time 3 picks in the game. Yeah, and Georgia's still winning. So, to proven otherwise, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. They might can figure out. Penn State really should be lower, but
I think Indiana's above them. At least not because
So
they're
why-
better. So that's just
so why should Penn State be lower?
I don't know. I just don't like Penn State. No football expert knowledge. It's just like, I mean, truthfully, they're going to win because the Big Ten is so weak. I got kind of an argument with somebody on X earlier with this. I'm very argumentative.
Get off that thing.
But no, just like they're gonna be solid. They're gonna be because outside of like the top 5 or top 6 of the Big Ten, it's pretty weak afterwards stuff. And I mean,
How many conferences have 5 or 6? That are in a top 25. So
I mean, I'm pretty sure the SEC has 8 or 7.
Penn State's played nobody. That's why you could put them over.
Yeah, I mean, their best win is what Illinois right now.
Yep.
I'll say maybe you can. No, you can't throw West Virginia in there. So it's Illinois is their best win.
Outside of that, it's West Virginia, Bowling Green, Kent State, Illinois, UCLA, Southern Cal by 3. Wisconsin, they lost to Ohio State, Washington, Purdue.
Yeah, pretty much. So it's like, and they finished the season with Minnesota and Maryland.
Yeah.
So there's no upside to really see what they really are about against at least the elites. And until they get beat at least one of the elites, and they didn't play Michigan this year, which I know Michigan's down anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But
wouldn't that make Penn State, the second best? So they're performing like the second best in the Big Ten. Third, actually, because I keep about Oregon. Yeah,
I know Oregon. That's a mess. And I mean, you can probably it depends on how Indiana looks this weekend with Ohio State. You might can make an argument 4th. That's why I have Indiana's behind Penn State because their schedule.
So you can't give Penn State.
Well, Indiana has the 102nd strength of schedule in college football right now.
You can't give Penn State the benefit of the doubt and then take it away from Oregon because of the schedule, though.
I'm not taking anything. I just said I forgot about Oregon.
Take away from Oregon?
No, taking away from Indiana. You can't give Penn State be like, oh, they beat who's on the schedule other than Ohio State, but be like Indiana has beaten everybody, but they ain't played no damn body. They played the same teams Penn State has minus Ohio State.
Right, you got something to say before I jump in on that?
What's that?
You have something to say to that before I jump in? I mean, my thoughts in Indiana is, I mean, it's this is kind of like a little biased. I know you're supposed to be in the season, but like, I got to see against like an actual team with a pulse, and you do play with one time, kind of like Penn State, and I would judge you based on that. If you get blown out, like
which sadly I think Indiana will get blown out.
Yeah, it's like
just looking at Indiana's schedule.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's like Michigan. You thought they were going to blow out Michigan, and they let Michigan back in that game. And Michigan's has no offense as far as like at least passing the ball.
No, but their defense was still good enough to keep Indiana,
but their defense was missing players. Like they didn't have their best corner, Will Johnson, who's a first-round pick, top 5 pick potentially. So I got to kind of penalize. Like I'm not rooting against Indiana. Like, hey, you have the opportunity to jump from 7 to maybe 2 if you win this weekend.
You think? Yeah, well, damn, you'd think they jump all those teams, huh? If they beat Ohio State,
if they beat Ohio State in Ohio State.
I just don't think the pollers themselves would do that.
Oh man, you said what?
Yeah, Indiana beats Ohio State. They're going to jump.
I think they'd still keep Bama and Georgia up above Indiana on that one.
I don't think so. If they beat a top 3 team in the country with no losses
on the road, yeah, absolutely.
On the road, I don't think you can do it. Oregon beat them at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Oregon's 1. How do you not at least have them at 2?
Yeah,
you got to remember how much consistency bias comes through, and when pollsters come through. Well, it's not just SEC; it's about who's regularly there. And with Indiana being a team who doesn't normally even appear in the rankings at all, they're gonna kind of want to hold back on boosting them up over
but Ryan,
people you see regularly.
Ryan,
that's the trend they do. I'm just saying that's
I'm not arguing that, but if Indiana beats Ohio State and Columbus, they did something that Penn State can't do.
Yeah, but I bet they'd argue Bama, Texas, or Georgia.
They can't argue it because it can't happen.
Yeah, but they could argue it. It's just not.
I mean, they can make an argument. I see where you're coming from, Ryan. Like I'm not trying to diminish, but like I think that would be like, especially late in the season, like it'd be different if it was like week 1 or week 2. But this is pretty much who you are as a team now for most of these teams, given barring injuries or something. So like, this is pretty much clutch. Like, you got to have it.
Saying, last year they were more than happy to move Florida State back when they had a bye week behind them.
Here comes the reason. Here comes the Florida State side.
I'm just saying they've done it before. So if they're going to move a team that was undefeated last year behind a team with a loss, I wouldn't be surprised if
Indiana's going to fall to 13 if they go undefeated now. Here comes the Florida State boo crew.
Kind of piggyback on what Brian mentioned earlier about Notre Dame dominating the last 5 games. I do understand that, but I'm sorry, Notre Dame has the worst loss of all these teams in the top 12. Maybe the top 25 with that loss to Northern Illinois at home. You have to be penalized for that, in my opinion. I mean, if you win and do your job, or you're going to make the playoff. Like right now, they're projected to be a 5 seed, so you're at least going to get a home game. But they can only get a home game. That's the highest seed they can get, given how the rules are with this playoff. But also, I mean, I know they play.
Only a conference champion can hold the top 4 spots.
Top 4 spots, yeah. I know Matt intentionally froze. There you go.
You can never tell. I think sometimes he just pretends.
He's messing with us, right? But yeah, that's
he's is he breaking the rules? I think he's whispering sweet death threats to me.
Hey man, I'm just saying, this podcast is monitored by whoever's watching it.
One point it was baby oil, but I think they went out of business with Diddy.
Hey man, they didn't sell that at Costco. All right, that's all.
They didn't sell it at Costco. Costco's not taking no trades. All right. Well,
don't try bringing Costco into this.
Well, let's review some of these games. We're gonna run through the first one, probably the best game of the weekend as far as the thrill factor of it. We got South Carolina defeating Missouri 34-30 in Columbia. Lenore Sellers 5 TDs, over 300 yards passing. Quick thoughts from Matt, known Colorado hater.
Hey, I'm going to start off. Oh, God, what is going on with Ryan right now? Just throwing his phone around. So, just to start off before I get in this game, how the hell are Florida State fans Carolina fans? I don't understand it. You guys got to make it make sense to me. I don't get it.
Well, both my parents went to South Carolina, so I grew up watching them. But then I went to Florida State.
Nick, your turn.
All my family's
partied in Columbia.
Yeah, all my family's Gamecocks and party, and I'm not gonna be a Clemson fan.
So how did you end up at Florida State?
It's just that good.
I grew up in the 90s. And South Carolina sucked and Clemson sucked.
Why weren't you a part of the 7th floor crew then?
Because I was in Miami.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. You said you were raised in the 90s. So.
Oh, Miami. Miami was only good 1 year.
In the 80s.
In the 80s, yeah.
They were the 80s. They were
2000s.
washed up by then.
Yeah, 2 years in 2000s. And they lost one of those games. But I do. Greg Olson's still the homie, though.
Oh, yeah, 1,000%. So
greatest rapper of all time. But go ahead, Matt.
So back to the game. The last 3 minutes of that game were confusing. Carolina's defense has been great most of the year. Missouri somehow counterbalanced that. I don't know how. I hope Clemson watched enough tape on that one to help me in 2 weeks. Sellers looked better than he had in the past, although some of his throws were very questionable. Ball security is still a big thing he needs to learn. He did fumble, I think maybe once, maybe twice, and some of his passes were just like, oh, he's still a freshman. But I mean, yeah, good win. That's all I got.
How about you, Ryan?
I mean, it was a really good game. Burns the third from Missouri showed why he's supposed to be one of the top wide receivers drafted in the first round. I think he had two touchdown catches.
That last one was damn good with one hand.
Yeah, that was a pro. That was a George Pickens catch. That's what that was. But 5 catches for what I think 138 yards and 2 touchdowns overall, something like that. And despite that, for the most part, the Gamecocks were still able to keep that Missouri passing game in line, or at least in check. It was kind of a bend not break attitude, and put them in some dangerous situations. But I think their defense was the star of this game for South Carolina. The 2 freshmen that are on the outside on that D line, they're going to be superstars in a few years, I think.
One of them's probably going pro this year, though. I think the transfer from Georgia Tech.
Yeah, he's going pro.
Yeah, he's a D tackle though, right?
No, he's DN.
He's a DN. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know the D tackle was
Kennard.
Yeah, Kennard is the DN. Stewart's the other end, and then Tonka Hemingway and a couple of those other boys up the middle are seniors as well.
Yeah. I thought Kennard was.
No.
Anyway,
was Georgia Tech for a couple of years.
Okay, that was the Georgia Tech guy. Yeah, I thought it was somebody else. But I mean, offense played great. Rocket Sanders somehow still had 70 plus yards, even though it seemed like every other play he was getting stopped behind the line. Sellers was able to bail him out, made some really good touchdown plays, had like Matthew said, some freshman mistakes, still overthrows people, still not quite hitting those outside numbers, but freshman, man, this is what, his 8th game?
Yeah,
7th, because did he miss one for injury?
He missed the Ole Miss game.
Yeah. No, he played the Ole Miss game.
Did he play Ole Miss?
Yeah, I
thought he got hurt.
After
Yeah.
LSU was.
LSU. Yeah.
After that game, he missed.
Yeah, that was Ole Miss then.
LSU is when they had to put in the old Auburn quarterback.
Yeah.
So he's still learning. Like he's got a lot of room to grow for sure. But I think the raw product looks good.
Agreed. I will give Brady Cook, which is Missouri's quarterback. I mean, he wasn't like that caught fire in that fourth quarter. He was as much as the catch that Burden made was beautiful. That pass was pinpoint.
Oh yeah,
it was exactly where it needed to be because it was actually pretty good coverage. But that game was real well. Like South Carolina kind of allowed Missouri to get back in. What's his name? Nate Noel, running back from Missouri. He actually was consistently getting 5 yards.
He must have been frustrating the heck out of Carolina's defense because it seems like every 2 plays he was getting another 8-yarder.
Yeah, easily.
That fourth quarter was nothing but him, and then Brady Cook was throwing one occasionally.
4. But overall, it was a good win for South Carolina. Needed win. Essentially, this is a playoff elimination game. Even for South Carolina, I think that's still a stretch for them to make it. They'll need a lot to happen. A lot of teams to lose at least. But as we look at one South Carolina team, we're going to go to the other who also was in a little surprising effort by the Clemson offense. But the run game, Matt and Jacob was pretty animated in the group chat with this one. But as they were saying that, Cade Klubnik pulls off a 50-yard run to close the deal in the last minute for Clemson to win the game 24-20 against Pitt. I'm gonna let Ryan talk first, and I'll let Matt share his thoughts on the Clemson offense. Go take away, Ryan. What's your thoughts on this game?
It was just pretty much the same Clemson we've seen all season. Maddeningly inconsistent, but still somehow have really bright spots on both sides of the ball. The running game, I think, was mentioned at one point. They had 17 attempts for 14 yards or something like that. Just lower. It was lower than that. Just absolutely awful. And but I mean the Pitt, they just really haven't faced a defense that had that much talent, and I think it showed. But still, Clemson should be playing a whole lot better this part of the season. When their defense is playing that well, their offense needs to show up and extend that lead, make a team like Pitt not look like a threat.
All right. 4 is yours, Matt.
8 yards before Cade Klubnik's run. The entire game. 8. Yep, I'll let you take that in for a minute. So
this is a quick stat thought. Phil Maffa was 17 carries for 17 yards.
Yeah. And that's obviously including Klubnik sacks. So
no, that was just all Phil.
I was just saying the 8 yards.
Oh yeah, 8 yards. Oh, yeah.
So they finished with 58. If you take away Klubnik's sack. So the offense is so inconsistent. I get Clemson's left tackle as our backup right now. Yeah, third string guys. Took out the true freshman that got hurt on the first play of the game. That's always a great start. And then the entire offensive line shifted around, and it is bad. So I think that kind of limits their ability to throw downfield because you saw none of that in that Pitt game. It was 3 plays, 3 runs, and we're gone. At one point, Pitt had 17 plays 17 play drive to score. Clemson had 15 entire plays in the second half. And that was midway through the fourth quarter. It was a lot of 3 and outs. Defense gets tired that way. I mean, that's how Clemson should have lost that game, is their defense had been on the field. I don't know what they're doing with the offensive play call. Some weeks they look like, okay, new plays, haven't seen this before, don't know what that wrinkle was, and then we'll go into the same stagnant, sad offense where we have 4 plays and the defense knows what's coming. Like, hey, let's just hand the ball off to Maffa. We haven't worked that all night. We do it 3 times in a row, and we punt. I don't know who's calling plays, but they got to get figured out. I'm tired of getting out coached every week by people that make $10 million, Dabo, and $3 million for the OC. I don't know if he's checked out already and accepted that East Carolina job or not. But ever since that East Carolina job's come available, it seems like our offense has taken a step back. So I don't know. I don't know anything about that. Timing is impeccable if it's not. But I just don't understand what they're doing.
I guess quick thoughts for me. I really see all this game. I saw the fourth quarter, so I can't speak on the early portion of it. I guess I didn't really miss much.
You gotta go on YouTube and watch the shortened game.
Yeah,
watch the punt fest.
Pitt, Pitt, at the end there, man, y'all did everything you needed to do. Then on that, after the touchdown drive by Clemson, I don't know what that was. Coming after, you just said, "Oh fuck, we forgot, we still got to play," and just literally couldn't block to save the life. I think Clemson got 2 sacks in that last drive.
They were on pressure on him all night though, so defense did their job. I think they ended with like 8 sacks that game.
Yeah. I guess their Pitt was missing some linemen going into it. No thoughts. I mean, it looked bad. And traveling on the road to Pittsburgh, probably just enthusiasm was to be on there. But look, Clemson got the W. I know I'm trying to be the optimism for Clemson fans that are listening to us. They got to kind of wait. Their conference schedule is done. So for Clemson, they're going to need some help with SMU and Miami. Hopefully needing to lose to be able to get to the ACC championship. So we're going to play by ear. In addition to that, who Clemson plays? Y'all play FCS next week, right? Citadel, yeah.
Yeah, Citadel and the Gamecocks.
So they got at least 2 weeks to kind of get ready for that game because that's going to be also that game is announced to be a 12 o'clock game.
Yeah.
A lot of people are not happy with that, but I look at the schedule and I'm like, they did have Vandy and I think it's Vandy and Tennessee as the 8 o'clock game on ESPN. Yes, because they got Texas A&M and Texas on ABC. So
that's
I guess
they just 3:30 game.
Huh?
That's not a 3:30
I imagine
game?
so. Yeah.
The Texas A&M.
I would think that would be a 3:30 game of the week.
Nah, I think they got the Iron Bowl. Alabama Auburn.
Who picks these games? Okay.
Yeah, that was my first thought. I was like, that don't make zero sense. And who South Carolina and Clemson lost out to was actually that's Friday night. Never mind. I'll take it back. No, they lose. So there's that with that. But we're gonna keep it going. Move on to another SEC game. Part of the game of the weekend. Georgia's Tennessee. Georgia comes out with 31-17 over the Vols. I got this pick up stats right quick. Make sure. Nico Imalava, whoever says his name. No touchdowns, 167 yards passing. Carson Beck bounce back game for him, 347 yards in the air, 2 touchdowns. Matt, let's take the first reins on this. What's your thoughts on the Bulldogs getting a bounce back game? Much needed win for them too, because it was not looking good if they took another loss for the playoff. Matt, you're moving. I see you moving. Is he moving?
I can't tell. It's just kind of how he always looks.
Yeah.
Now I'm going to go ahead and guess that no, he's not moving.
Okay.
I guess I'll take this real quick then.
Go for it.
I watched a significant portion of that game. I would have been absolutely frustrated as a Tennessee fan, coming out strong in the first half and then just blowing the entire second half of the game. For a team that was really hoping to get I mean, still can, but really hoping to get a playoff spot. Their windows shrunk a little more than I'm sure they would like. Who's at the end of their season?
They got Georgia Tech in the last game. Talking Tennessee.
Tennessee, yeah, not Georgia. Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry.
like Tennessee.
They got Vandy and
Right.
believe Mississippi State. No, UTEP. Sorry.
No, I think it's McNoll State.
UTEP. University of Texas El Paso. Then Vandy.
So, I mean, Vandy could threaten their playoff hopes, and I'm sure they would have at least like that little cushion at the end of the year.
Yeah, and that's on the road.
Yeah, so I'm although I don't know how much of a home field advantage Vandy fans give out there. But yeah, no, Tennessee really could have used that win to make themselves more comfortable in the playoff hunt. Georgia saved their butts. I'm pretty sure if they had lost this game, they pretty much could have counted themselves out of the playoffs. So they remain in a hunt, and they themselves have an easy schedule to finish. I'm sure some people would like to see Georgia Tech pull off the upset, but I'm going to go ahead and say it's not very likely.
Hey, not very likely. Isn't 0%.
It's not 0%.
It's not 0%. Georgia has UMass. SEC has to get rid of these damn FCS opponents, man. Late season.
Even on the SEC network the other day, they were saying, it's time to move to a nine conference game schedule.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
And I think they will. I think because even during the preseason, if I remember right, they were saying like we're going to just do a 8-game season this year just to see how it looks. Then it would be to be determined moving forward. But yeah, I think it's clear cut that you're going to need 9 games because right now you have 7 teams with still kind of like a realistic shot at making the SEC championship.
Mm-hmm.
Ideally, Texas A&M control their destiny the most. But
Yeah.
Then you have 3 teams: Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama. They all beat each other.
Right.
So I think this is going to be the reality, especially if you're going to have a 16, 17 team conference.
So by adding that one extra game, now you might get at the end of the year a Tennessee-Texas matchup or a Georgia-Ole Miss matchup. Where right now, a lot of these teams, yeah, they're all having great seasons and they've beat up on each other, but each one of them's kind of had some of the weaker side of the SEC schedule this year. They don't have multiple definitive SEC wins like you normally see in all these other seasons in the last few years. You had Georgia having to face Florida or Alabama and LSU, and this year it all kind of seemed to patter out. The one team that did get that schedule, though, held close both at LSU and Bama and South Carolina.
Yeah, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, God, I bet now they're even more mad that they took the loss to LSU.
Mm-hmm.
Given what pretty much they will put themselves in this conversation right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
My thoughts on this game. I think it's good for Georgia. I think Georgia defense showed out. Tennessee defensive line didn't get as much pressure as I thought it was going to be as they are a pretty good defensive line. But Georgia handled business. I think Georgia also was on edge, knowing that if they take a third loss, they're most likely going to miss the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
So good win for the Dogs. We're gonna keep it moving. Go to the Big Ten. Now this was a scare that a lot of people was keeping their eyes on. This, if you wasn't paying attention to the early games, it was Oregon scraping by in Madison, Wisconsin, as they take down the Badgers 16-13. Oregon's number 1 receiver, Tez Austin. Is it Tez Austin? Double check. Didn't play. But as far as just watching this game, Wisconsin actually just kind of showed up. I think they were just more in tune watching this game as no investment in it. Defense was pretty locked in. but they couldn't put the foot in the door. I think Oregon just had better athletes at the end, and that's what happened. They able to make the plays. Any quick thoughts from you on this game?
I didn't catch this one, but yeah, super close. That's just what happens when you play, a strong schedule. Eventually, even the middling teams might be able to catch you with your socks off. But Wisconsin, I'm sure Oregon is not used to going into that vamped up of environment this late in the season. I'm sure they're used to seeing Washington or USC, but those crowds aren't quite the size of your Wisconsin, your Ohio State. And this is, like I said, late into the season. Fans are getting really charged at the end of the year,
Yeah.
So I'm sure that was a bit of a shock for them. The weather probably had a little bit to do with it. Oregon, sure, they play in some cold weather, but Wisconsin's a different kind of cold you got there. Probably something they haven't had to play in the regular season before.
That's far east in the Big Ten. Good shocker though. But they got the W. They avoid the loss. One game to go with Oregon. I think they take on Washington. They got a bye week. Then they take on Washington.
Yeah, they got their rivalry game. Yeah,
big rivalry game there. But we'll keep moving. This was the only top 10 team to lose to a non-rank. Kansas beats BYU 17-13. This is a late game. Out west, you had to stay up till like 1 in the morning to kind of see the conclusion of it.
Yeah, I was long asleep by then.
Yeah. BYU was one of the teams everybody kept choosing to be fraudulent in this game. Kansas was pretty hot. Even like the odds we were looking before, Kansas was actually favored in this game by 2, I believe. And
really?
Yeah. The offense has been playing a little better, even though Jalen Daniels, I think, had less than 200 yards passing in this game. This was definitely like a slugfest. But no, I mean, I think BYU put like it was tied at halftime, remember right? And they kicked the field goal in the third quarter, and then the offense was just non-existent. Move forward. Any thoughts of the repercussions of this game? Well, actually, hold that thought. Hold that thought. Because actually, we're just going to keep it moving. I'm kind of mad at Matt Love for it because there's also another game in the Big 12 that matter. With Coach Prime over here, out here winning 49-24. Colorado at 17th. Shador, I think by far is probably the best, at least passing quarterback in college football, without question. Travis Hunter pretty much is close to almost locking up this Heisman, I believe. It's kind of crazy. I don't know if you've seen the stats. He has like 500 snaps, almost even on offense and defense each.
Oh, wow.
So it's pretty wild.
Yeah.
Any quick thoughts on the Buffs and the Utes?
Utah surprised me, but whatever. Cam Rising still can't seem to get healthy, still can't seem to play. Didn't have a backup quarterback with the experience, so it's kind of biting them at the end of this year, and that's too bad. Colorado, yeah, they've had some really good wins this season. They need a whole lot of help if they wanted to try and make a playoff run.
Oh, no, they don't. They control their destiny.
I thought Kansas State was still number 1 in the Big
12. Yeah, but Kansas State lost. Kansas State was behind them, and then they lost again. They lost to the surprise might be the biggest surprise team of all college football. That was Arizona State. Arizona State waxed them like from the rip.
I do remember that. Yeah, I do remember
that game wasn't close.
I thought Kansas State was still ahead though.
Kansas State put 2 losses before that, and that was the third loss. So with the Big 12, kind of give you an insight on it. So right now it's a 4-team race. Quick shout out to not only Arizona State, but quick shout out to Dave Aranda and Baylor becoming bowl eligible, given he was pretty much on the hot seat starting the season.
Yeah, he saved this season for sure.
For sure.
Or saved his job, I mean.
Yeah. But right now, this 14 race, BYU, Colorado, Arizona State, and Iowa State. BYU and Colorado, if the season were to end, would be the Big 12 championship, both with 6-1 in the conference. Arizona State still plays. I think Colorado. Double check right now. No, a lot. They play BYU in Arizona, so that's going to be the essentially elimination game
Mm-hmm.
To see who can get a berth and then finish with Arizona to end the season. Colorado, look at the schedule right quick. Has Kansas, so that's kind of could be on the road with Kansas and Oklahoma State to end the season.
Yeah, Oklahoma State is not the team that we thought they were going to be coming.
They are not. I bet on them the other week, and oh my god, they even showed up.
Well, then it sounds like Colorado has, because I think that Arizona State BYU matchup is going to be tough. Colorado might have the best chances at least to make the Big 12 championship, where they'd probably meet. Who's Iowa State got left?
Let's find out. Let's say with 2 losses. You have Utah, which they should be in Kansas State.
Oh, so that makes that game interesting too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun fact with Kansas, they beat both Iowa State and Kansas State in back-to-back.
Really?
But 3 wins on the season. So props to the Jayhawks.
Well, I'd say Iowa State would probably give Colorado the best run for their money. Arizona State, Colorado could be a good matchup too. You know, former Pac-12 rivals who are in a new conference now. So
bouncing back.
That should just be an interesting way to finish the season.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think this pretty much Big 12 is a one bid league. So the conference champion is definitely probably the only playoff team out of this league. Not just that, God, it would be like just crazy if Colorado makes it. They also get a first round bye. That'd be at minimum the 4th seed. See how things play out. But props to Coach Prom and the Buffs, man.
Yeah, good for them.
Good for them. Proving a lot of haters wrong. And I like how Matt ran. I think he knew I was coming with this. Other than that, you have any other thoughts on Week 12 as a whole? I give a shout out to Arizona State, getting themselves in competition. As far as
I just got to throw more praise out to Genty, man. That kid's. I don't know. I know Travis Hunter's had a wild season, but I know Genty's still my favorite for the Heisman, man.
That was a good game. Came back. They were down 21-7 at one point.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he had another 3 touchdown game, 189 yards rushing. I mean,
they was hurting him. They was hurting him, and some of this is just Boise too, because I think Boise, in some of these games, they pull him early. Obviously, they want to keep him fresh as long.
Mm-hmm.
But I think he just needed one of those like just crazy sick games where he had like 200 or 300 yards rushing to really because for him stats are going to matter because he's in the Group of 5 league.
Yeah. Well, he did have a 300-yard total early in the season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'll say he pretty much had a challenge that Barry Sanders record, I think, to really. I mean, he's gonna have a lot of touchdowns. I think who's Melvin Gordon, I believe.
Yeah, I'm sure he's closing in on that.
I think it's 38, if I remember
right. Is it that many? No, 28.
It's 20. No, I thought it was higher.
I think so. I think I could be wrong, but I thought so. Or that might be LaDainian Tomlinson's in the NFL.
I can look it up. But other than that, I'm just looking through the Week 12 slate. I don't think nothing.
No, there's nothing too big coming up this week. You know, it's everybody's soft schedule week.
Yeah, I think college football as a whole is going to have to stop doing that, and this far in the season.
Yeah,
have a game schedule because I know the rivalry week is the biggest week as far as like just games, each individual game, but you can't have so many like just. Wofford and South Carolina, Citadel, Clemson, these small schools playing. You can pay them out, but God, do it like here in the preseason or maybe spring football. You can do a in-state game with the FCS school in your state. But for the greater good of college football and If you want to compete,
let's
with
get rid of that. Yeah, let's get that out of here.
Let's get that out of here, man. Everybody get non-conference.
Play a full Division I season, man.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you should do 10 games in conference schedule and just have 2 non-conference games. Really, that's all you need.
I think they don't want to do that for like Notre Dame and USC, who have multiple rivals outside their conference. They want to get all those rivals TV time as much as they can.
No, hell with Notre Dame. Notre Dame's the reason why the ACC is going through the issues they have going. Just join the conference. You don't have to worry about some of these things. At least full time. All right. Well, outside of that, man, that's all I got for you. We're gonna try to be back Wednesday. That's my plan. I have some bets. I'm putting the group chat in some games. I'm pretty sure, given how the schedule for this week looks, y'all probably gonna know what games I'm gonna choose. Or I might just tell everybody give me their best picks and we see where it goes.
Whoever Army's playing, I'm taking Army.
Oh, that's Notre Dame, though.
Oh shit.
Army Notre Dame.
I don't know. I might stick with Army on that. I don't know.
On that. Well, shout out to my my boss MK because they're actually gonna be at that game. The game's played at I think it's played at Yankee Stadium.
No kidding. That's pretty cool.
New York. So go Army. I support the troops. Let's go. Outside of that, man, well, Matt ran like a little chicken because he didn't want to talk about Colorado. So just remember that you heard this first. Clemson fans always running. They can't run the ball. They can't run the ball during the game. Their fans can run their mouth. As they're not here to show up.
That was good.
As you always count Florida State people, we might be one win, but we show out.
Mm-hmm.
Charleston, let's beat Charleston Southern. Thank God. Hopefully we can beat Charleston Southern. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
I heard Charleston Southern just had a new quarterback, Ken Kebo.
Kebo. All right, man. That's Brian. I'm Nick. This is Campus Odds and Ends on the Holy City High Podcast Network. Please subscribe to us on Spotify, YouTube, Twitch. Give us a follow. With that being said, I'll holler at you.